Good morning, everybody, and welcome to English 1150, the short fiction section, Net 21. My name is Professor Ott, and I am going to be your instructor over the course of the next 8 weeks. I'm very excited to get to talk with you about a selection of short stories. And as our course description says, these stories are going to be read and discussed to increase your understanding and enjoyment of this literary form. So, welcome. So far, I see Jack, Taylor, Joe, Caleb, Tim, RJ, Abby, Alexandria, and Shreya as being members of this class. So, again, welcome. I'm really excited to be working with you in this online class for the next 8 weeks, and I am very excited to get started with you this morning on Unit 1. So hopefully you've made it to this welcome video and seen my email kind of directing you to this initial orientation. I just want to show you a few things in terms of how to navigate for our class. I want to make it as simple and as sort of user-friendly as possible. And so if you can look at my navigation on the screen, follow along and you can click on syllabus and you'll see that up comes our syllabus. I have all of my information beginning this class with a quotation from Eudora Welty, who says, "The first thing we see about a short story is its mystery. And in the best short stories, we return at the last to see mystery again." And so I'm excited to have your sort of readings and interpretations of the short stories that we shall sort of be exploring together over the course of the next 8 weeks. My name is Instructor Professor Ashley Ott, and if I encourage you to kind of look under, I have a Professor Ott sort of section on our syllabus that you can explore. It tells you a little bit about my teaching philosophy, where my office is located, and also some office hours, which means that you can be in touch with me through email and we can arrange an appointment time. We can use Collaborate Ultra on Blackboard, and I can tell you how to do that. Or we can also just sort of correspond through email, whatever you find most convenient. And then here's just a little sound clip of me explaining a little bit more about myself. And so I look forward for you to learn a little bit more about me, and I hope to sort of engage with you in the next week. So returning back to the syllabus, just a few quick reminders. Please do look through this in more detail as time allows, but for now, I'd like to just remind you that there's no required textbook for this class. Originally, I did have one, but I wanted to make sure that everything was via an open educational resource. And so all of the texts that we're reading are freely available online, and I've embedded for you on our units, the different units, one unit for each week. One of the things that's going to be really important for this class is that you have a Google account. And I'm sure most of you might have an account already. And so if you already have one, please feel free to use the Google account you already have, unless you feel like maybe creating a more professional name, for example, would be helpful. Feel free to sort of create a new Google account if sort of your name is maybe something that you used for a different kind of a engagement. Some general course objectives. There's only 3, and so I'm going to preface each of our units with these objectives just so that we stay in course and keep in mind what we're really engaging with and trying to get out of this class. So upon successful completion of this course, the student should be able to do the following. 1 is to develop a critical appreciation of short stories. 2 is to analyze and discuss the themes and structural elements of short stories. And 3 is to recognize the ways short stories function as statements about life. And so we're going to be exploring that in a few different ways, but most of my assignments mirror directly ways in which we can engage with those course objectives. I will be communicating with you primarily through COD email outside of Blackboard. And of course, I'll be using the announcements function on Blackboard, which will also show up in your COD email. I'm also going to have you sign up and sort of register with an account called Remind, and that just gives you, I'm going to be sending out just if maybe 1 or 2 reminders, a text message reminders throughout the week. Remind is an account that you can create for free using your Google account, Google credentials, and it allows me to get in contact with you via your cell phone, but without ever having to exchange phone numbers or know those numbers. And so completely sort of anonymous and allows me to just send you a quick reminder midweek. If I have a pop-up office hour that you might want to log into, if you just need a reminder on when things are due, I'll be sending out those sporadically. So our course calendar is going to be under our due dates and our unit sections. I'll show you those in a minute. And all of the other sort of guidelines here are things that you can read through on your own. I have more information about grading under my grades and the sort of etiquette stipulations here about how to sort of be a careful and cordial online student. All right, so there's our I have a note on textbooks. So again, there is no required textbooks for this course, but do have a Google account. And I'm going to show you how to get that Google account. If you click on welcome video again, get your Google account. If you don't have one already, of course, you can sign up for one here just by clicking this link. And it'll ask you to sort of fill in some of this information and you can create your own account using this simple form. So thank you for doing that. The only other thing you have to subscribe to is this, again, this account called Remind. And after you set up your Google credential, if you don't have one already, just simply click here and you'll sort of sign up for, I'm already logged in, as you can see. If I log out, it'll ask me to log back in, but I'm going to set up let's see, I'm logging with Google here, as you can see. All right. And our class is going to be called English 1150. And so when you're searching for our class after you log in and create an account, all you'll have to type in is ENGLI 1150, and it'll send you right to our class, and you can add yourself to our class list. Again, Remind provides just an easier way to stay informed outside of the classroom. It offers you and I a free, safe, and simple way to be in communication, all the while keeping your phone numbers private. It's kind of like a listserv of the cell phone world, and I found that really helpful for online teaching. All right, so again, please visit my Professor Ott homepage here for more information about me. I also have a special section here for virtual office. If you would ever like to meet with me face-to-face, we have this Blackboard Collaborate Ultra tool that's built into our Blackboard site, which is really helpful, and it shows us how we can kind of communicate with each other. And I can kind of talk you through that should we and when we meet. I look forward to talking with each of you at some point in our next 8 weeks, face-to-face or sort of synchronously. All right. If you do have any trouble with Blackboard, please feel free to kind of navigate through the Blackboard help sign. I also can help you walk through how to do many of these things that we have. So a little bit about me, a little bit about our class, but mostly I'm excited to talk to you, really dig into the content, which is thinking about short stories. And I want you to think this week, like, what is a short story? Be thinking about this question throughout the next 8 weeks. What is a short story? What does it look like? How does it feel? What are some of the terms and concepts and structures that make the short story what it is? The literary form short story, it's usually defined as a brief fictional and prose narrative, so not poetic, most often involving one unified episode. And early in the 19th century, the American writer Edgar Allan Poe, who you'll see coming up in a few minutes, was one of the first to attempt an analysis of the short story's aesthetic properties, in other words, the way it looks and feels. He stressed this idea of unity of effect as the story's most characteristic feature. Since the flood of events we experience in life is rarely unified by just one single impression, in a sense, all fiction, whether short story, long story, or novel, is all sort of made up, right? Paradoxically, however, the measure of success for all fiction is how true it is to our emotions, how accurately it reflects the life we all live. And so, thinking about what makes truth in fiction, how do we understand fiction as something really valuable? In terms of truth. So you'll also notice I'm going to have a separate video under units to explain what to do for the specific week. This video is just an overview of our class and class tools. If you navigate to due dates, you'll see just some information on the course structure. So just keep in mind that things in this class are always going to be due on Wednesday and Friday of every week. And that's by the end of the day. So if you submit something at 11:59 on Wednesday evening, you are perfect. If you submit something on Friday evening at 11:59, that's great. So sometimes assignments will be requiring you to submit one part by Wednesday and one part by Friday. I also include in here on this due dates list the short stories that we're going to be reading. So something by John Cheever, Guy de Maupassant, Flannery O'Connor. We're going to be looking at Ambrose Bierce, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, or The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, James Thurber. I'm going to let you choose because we're also going to be watching the film that accompanies those or that was adapted as a result of those short stories. We're going to be reading Charlotte Perkin Gilman's The Yellow Wallpaper and Virginia Woolf's Kew Gardens, Anton Chekhov's Indigestion, and Edgar Allan Poe, as well as Lydia Davis's The Mother and Jamaica Kincaid Girl. I also have a note on grading guidelines. So every week, every Wednesday and every Friday, I will have assignments that are due, and they're going to be the same kinds of assignments. So once you get into sort of the feeling and rhythm of a certain assignment, I think you'll have a good handle on the repetition of that same kind of structure week after week. And I hope that's helpful because I really want to foreground the readings and not spend too much time fiddling over trying new technologies out or trying to sort of ask you to do different, completely different kinds of activities. They're all going to be very similar in structure, but asking you to continue to broaden your understandings of terms, concepts, and content. So every week you're going to have a terms and concept assignment worth 25 points. You'll have a reading collaboratively assignment worth 50 points and a discussion board that's worth 50 points. So each week you'll have something that's 125 points. In all 8 weeks, you'll have what adds up to be 1,000 points altogether. So that's an easy way for you to calculate where you are in the semester, and you can always view your grades under how you're progressing under My Grades. The terms and concept portion is due every Wednesday of the week, and it's the slide deck, a shared slide deck through Google, which is why it's important for you to have that account. And the slide deck is basically a PowerPoint slide that you can add to that we're going to collaborate on together. And each week we're going to work on one slide. The first week we're going to be thinking about theme in short stories. And so you're going to analyze and discuss theme and structural elements of short stories. That's part of our course objective. And we're going to contribute to the slide deck by doing some readings on what exactly that term or concept means. And I've embedded all the readings into our unit, so you don't have to worry about sort of looking any of that up. We're also going to be doing an activity called close and collaborative reading. I'm going to have a shared Google Doc, and so we're going to be reading in that Google Doc the short story for the week. So along with reading, I'm asking you to develop a critical appreciation of short stories by commenting upon the reading as you go. And so those comments will be viewable by all of your students, all of your peers in this class. And so by every Wednesday, I'd like you to have read the short story and added a few comments to it, and I'll show you how to do that in the next video. And by every Friday, I'd like you to have replied to a few of the comments. And so again, this is sort of a collaborative way that we're reading through these short stories together. Please read through the sort of standard point scale. So 50 points are always for exemplary comments and replies, 40 points are for the effective comments or replies, and 35 is for comments or replies that need work. And just always remember that incomplete or late posts or replies are not awarded any points. So make sure that you're staying up to date. Again, making sure you have that Remind account, and I will send out reminders to make sure to submit that material on time. You'll also have a discussion board each week. The first part of this discussion board is due on Wednesday, which is your actual initial post. And then on Friday is the replies. And so you'll see that's consonant with close readings. The replies are due on Fridays, and the replies for discussion boards are due on Fridays. But the initial posts are due on Wednesday. And I'll explain a little bit more about what the post itself looks like. So thank you again for paying attention and following along with this initial orientation video. I hope that this looks sort of as simple and as sort of user-friendly as possible. And I look forward to talking with you a little bit more. If you can please click on units, I'll introduce Unit 1 to you, and I'm looking forward to sort of presenting to you the material that we'll be reviewing together this week, the first week of our class. So thank you again and welcome.